Forget what they told you, forget the social media threads, the rom-coms, the relationship gurus flooding your feed. Forget the endless advice columns, dating podcasts, and well-meaning friends who think they've cracked the female code. Because here's a raw, unfiltered truth most men don't want to hear. You can do everything right and still lose her. You can be the gentleman she said she always wanted, the guy who plans romantic dinners, never misses a good morning, text, supports her dreams, celebrates her wins, listens attentively, and shows up fully, and still, one day, you might wake up to a version of her that says, "I just don't feel the same anymore." And in that moment, your whole soul tightens. You sit there wondering what you missed. How can someone change so suddenly? Why didn't love last when you gave her your all? That confusion, it's not just heartbreaking, it's disorienting. Because you believed love was a contract, show up, give your best, stay loyal, and it'll be enough. But relationships don't work like contracts. They work like currents. And most men never learned how to navigate emotional waters that move this deeply. Here's the key. Loyalty isn't earned through perfection. It's not secured by ticking every box. It doesn't grow because you were always available. Loyalty is emotional. It's subconscious. It's about how she feels when she's around you. And what most men never realize is it's not about being good to her. It's about being good for her emotional experience. That's what creates connection. That's what makes her stay. That's what roots her loyalty. You see, a woman doesn't stay because everything looks perfect on paper. She stays because you move her. Not through gifts or gestures or the right words, but through your energy, through your depth, through the emotional polarity she feels when she's in your presence. Most guys miss that. They think, if I give more, she loves me more. So they start anticipating every need, they drop their plans, they morph into what they think she wants. They go out of their way to never cause discomfort, to always be emotionally available, to prove they're the safe, stable choice. But what happens is they start giving not from strength, but from fear. Fear of losing her, fear of not being enough, fear that if they don't keep up this image, she'd leave. And that fear, she feels it. She might not say it outright, but it's in the air. It's in your eyes when you're always looking for reassurance. It's in your voice when you try to explain yourself again and again. It's in the way you hold her desperately instead of confidently. And she can't respect it, because deep down, the feminine doesn't crave control. It craves strength, stillness, a man who can remain centered in chaos, not perform his way out of it. Women don't leave because you're too nice. They leave because your energy doesn't move them anymore. You became predictable, too available, too easy to read. She's not starving for support, she's starving for sensation, for polarity, for presence. She doesn't want to be coddled, she wants to be captivated. And when the emotional edge disappears, when the dynamic softens into monotony, she starts gasping for emotional air because at her core, the feminine desires movement, emotional tension followed by the calm of your grounded masculine presence. That's the dance. That's the rhythm that lights her up, that roots her loyalty, not safety alone, but intensity tempered by steadiness, fire held in earth. Emotion grounded by energy. Here's where most men get it painfully wrong. They think emotional safety means being agreeable, always saying yes, avoiding conflict, handing over the reins so she never feels uncomfortable. But that's not safety, that's suffocation. That's you becoming a reflection of what you think she wants rather than who you truly are. Real emotional safety comes from this, your presence, your solidity, your unshakable internal frame. It comes from knowing who you are and not needing her reaction to validate your identity. She doesn't want a servant. She doesn't want a shadow. She wants a man who can tell her no without guilt, a man who can hold her tears without becoming overwhelmed, a man who doesn't flinch when she's emotional, who doesn't collapse when she's upset, who doesn't shrink to win back her smile. That's what creates trust. That's what makes her feminine relax. That's when she feels safe enough to surrender, not because you're controlling her, but because you're leading yourself. This is Why you've seen women walk away from the guy who gave her the world and run to the one who gave her nothing but presents. The man who wasn't perfect, but who felt powerful. The man who didn't beg, didn't panic, didn't chase, but made her feel something she couldn't explain. That something, it's not what he said. It's what he carried, because women aren't loyal to effort, they're loyal to emotional experience. She could have the dream house, the perfect proposal, and the doting man who answers every text, and still leave if her feminine doesn't feel alive. Because it doesn't matter what you provide externally if your energy feels needy, insecure, uncertain, or weak. And this is where so many relationships quietly die. The man starts giving more from a place of emptiness. He thinks, if I just love harder, show up more, do everything right, she stay. But she starts pulling back, not because she's ungrateful, but because she can feel the weight behind the giving. She feels the approval seeking, the hidden agenda, the lack of self-trust behind your devotion. And no matter how much you do, it starts to feel heavy, because it's no longer love, it's a plea. It's not rooted in confidence, it's rooted in fear, and you can't mask that. You can't fake emotional strength, she feels it. And if she doesn't feel safe in your energy, she never stay loyal to your presence. Even if she loves you. Even if she tries. So ask yourself this and answer brutally honestly. Are you leading with grounded masculine energy? Or are you reacting to her mood swings, constantly adjusting yourself to keep her happy? When she withdraws, do you stay calm and observe, or do you panic and chase? Do you hold your own emotional center, or are you always orbiting hers? Because here's what happens every time you respond from fear. You shrink. And every time you shrink, she feels it. And her feminine cannot trust a man who collapses under pressure. If she can't trust your center, she can't trust the relationship. It's that simple, and yes, every man gets tested, every woman, consciously or unconsciously, throws emotional tests, not to break you, but to find you, to feel you, to see what you're made of. When the emotions rise, when she's upset, distant, or stormy, she's not just asking for comfort. She's asking, can you stay anchored while I drift? Can you hold your center when I can't hold mine? She's not looking for solutions. She's searching for your depth. So if you meet her chaos with fear, if you fold, fumble, or apologize, just to keep the peace, she will start to lose respect. Not because she doesn't care, but because she can't relax in a container that crumbles. That's why what women say they want isn't always what keeps them. On the surface, she might say she wants more attention, more consistency, more affection. And sure, that sounds great. But what locks her in isn't the checklist, it's the charge. The subtle sense that you are centered, calm, and not performing. That you're choosing her, not needing her. That you'd prefer to stay but can walk away without. Losing yourself, that's real power. And once she feels that energy, that calm confidence, that masculine edge, that deep stillness, you won't need to over-explain, over-give, or over-perform. She feel it in her bones, and she want to stay. Not because she's obligated, but because she trusts you. Because she trusts herself when she's around you. So why do so many relationships fall apart, even when both people say they're trying? Because effort without energy is empty. You can plan the perfect anniversary dinner and still be emotionally absent. You can say the right words and still be energetically unstable. You can love her with all your heart and still not make her feel safe enough to surrender. What she responds to isn't your performance, it's your presence. She mirrors who you are in your still moments. When she's not watching, when she's upset, when she's unsure. If in those moments you become small, anxious, or overly accommodating, she won't feel the edge. She won't feel the charge. And without that, attraction fades. So stop asking, what more can I do to keep her? Start asking, what kind of man do I need to become so she doesn't want to leave? Become the man whose energy speaks louder than words. The man whose boundaries create trust. The man who doesn't chase love but attracts it through who he is. When you shift into that space, everything changes. You'll stop chasing, you'll stop begging, you'll stop wondering if you're enough. Because you'll know your bones that your value is not based on how well you perform. It's based on how deeply you embody who you truly are. Grounded, present, whole dot, and from that place, women don't just stay, they lean in, they relax. They trust dot because her loyalty was never to the actions you did. It was always to the energy you carried dot, so stop performing. Stop pleasing, stop panicking. Start embodying dot, be the man she feels, not the one she studies. Be the presence she remembers, not the checklist she forgets dot, because in the end, the right woman will never ask you to lose yourself to love her. She fall in love with the man who refused to.